Uncle Mort's Celtic Fringe by Peter Tinniswood. They were on the move again. The blood-red beetle sang out and whined with pleasure. It swayed its hips to the curves and contours of the road. The river, slow and stately in the lee of the castle-kept sea, was narrow now, and it clattered over boulders and lingered in dark salmon-still pools, and hissed and slivered over spray-strewn falls, rucksack and anorak, crampons and woolly-bobbed hats.
Bloody hikers. No wonder the British helicopter business is booming.
Why?
Because they can't build enough of them to rescue the daft buggers when they fall off the mountains. I'd ban them.
You'd ban everything.
Of course I would. It's the perfect recipe for a happy and contented life.
They left the sagging gables of the gift-shopped, sopping mountain town. In front of them, a caravan lumbered and lurched. A sailor doll leered at them through its rear window. Uncle Mort raised 2 fingers at it. The blood-red beetle grumbled and groused.
Bloody caravan drivers.
You'd ban them too, would you?
Certainly not. I'd drag them out of the cars and disembowel them on the spot.
What would you do with their pennants?
Don't tempt me, lad, don't tempt me.
They stopped at the head of the mountain pass. They got out of the car. They breathed in deeply, and the crannies of their lungs tingled and sobbed. Blind char in a restless lake, flute of curlew, tumble of raven, feather fleck of razored wind.
Do you like flowery language, Carter?
No. Do you?
In its place.
And where's that?
On the back of sauce bottles.
They returned to the car and crossed a bleak moor. Bleak sheep, bleak tussocks, bleak eye of the wind.
I like bleakness, me. It were my only consolation during the long empty years of my marriage to your Aunt Edna.
Surly and distrustful, the moor gave up its bleakness to a land of mop-wooded hills and rolling pastures. And then it began to snow. Fizz and hiss of snow, swirl of flake, flurry of flake. The white wall roared in on them. It engulfed them in its clawing, ice-chilled arms.
It's not bad on the back of elastoplast tins, neither.
What?
Flowery language, Pillock, flowery language.
And then, with a pained and mournful groan, the windscreen wipers gave up the battle against the swirling icy blankness.
Oh, struth.
Bloody things. If I had my way, I'd ban them.
Carter Brandon pulled the car off the road. Gravel crunched beneath the wheels. Branches twanged against its side. But he could see nothing. Instantly, Uncle Mort fell asleep. After a while, Carter Brandon fell asleep. When they awoke, the snow had stopped. There was not a trace of it on the ground or in the trees, but the skies were lumbered and purple. They discovered they'd parked in the forecourt of a black-and-white timbered country inn. There was a monkey puzzle tree in the side garden.
We'd best stop here for the night. I don't like the look of the weather.
Lead on, lad. Lead on.
They went into the inn and were greeted by a stout, florid woman wearing pearl necklace, navy blue duffel coat, and squirming gumboots.
The Rear Admiral is not available at the moment.
Beg pardon, missus?
He's on the bridge.
Well, it's better than being on the poop deck, isn't it?
And now then, I suppose you men have come to exterminate the moles.
Well, not in so many words, missus.
Well then?
We've come to inquire about digs for the night.
Ah, liberation. I was hoping you could see to the Rear Admiral's halitosis when you'd finished on the moles. I shall summon Miss Priest-Williams to deal with you.
She rang a small handbell attached to her waist by a pyjama cord, and immediately a young woman appeared behind the reception desk. She was tall and gaunt, with a flat chest and sad ears. She looked them up and down silently, and then she said,
"I've just had my tonsils out."
I see. Anything else missing?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, I shouldn't take it for granted, love, not in this climate. Now then, have you got rooms for the night?
I'll check.
She opened a large, dusty, leather-bound ledger and scrutinized its pages carefully. Then she looked up at the men and inspected them once more.
Have you got nits?
Well, not yet, love. We've only just arrived.
Good. I'll put you in separate rooms, not adjoining.
Then she leaned forward to Carter Brandon and whispered into his ear,
I'll see you later in the fastness of the night. I'm sex-mad, you see.
Right. I'll bear it in mind.
Carter Brandon fetched their luggage from the car. Before they could make their way to their rooms, they were greeted by a small, stout man with nicotine stains on the end of his nose. He was wearing mustard-coloured hacking jacket and tweed +4s. He was carrying a small vacuum cleaner. He extended his hand and barked,
Rear Admiral Bullions, who are you?
Before they could answer, the Rear Admiral sprang towards a limp-shouldered elderly man who was padding softly across the lobby.
Ah, Major Mawson, the very man. I wonder if I could have a quiet, discreet word in your ear.
Certainly. You haven't paid your bloody bill for the past 6 weeks!
The stooping Major shuffled away hastily into the drawing-room. The Rear Admiral scowled and said,
Blasted Pongo.
Then he switched on the vacuum cleaner and commenced to hoover his +4s.